Hello, my literary luminaries, and welcome back to another Tuesday Talks. Today's Tuesday Talks topic is, do you shop for specific books, or are you more of a browser? For once, I have one that I can answer without having to think about for most of the month. Because in many, many ways, I am primarily a browser. Now, this is only true when I walk into like book and mortar type stores. If I'm on Amazon or whatever, more times than not, I know what I'm going for and I go and I look for it and I do it. To me, it's harder to browse online than it is in person. I do occasionally, like I'll go onto the Kindle store or what have you and look for free books, and that's browsing. But I still like, brick and mortar bookstores, walk in, look around, see the books. I'm a big fan of Barnes & Noble. I'm not allowed to go in all that often because I'll spend all my money. But I enjoy just like walking around a bookstore, looking at the different books, looking at the covers, looking to see what's out. I've found some really interesting books that way. Some I've read, some I haven't yet, but because it really shows. I've been talking to a couple people on Twitter actually about this after one of my last videos where I talked about if you don't like a book, if you don't like book one, do you keep reading? And a lot of people said no. And that's completely understandable, and I basically agree with them. But someone commented, I'm not going to read past book one because, first impressions matter. And I completely agree, and you see that nowhere more clearly than if you're browsing. I've talked before about how I picked up Laurel K. Hamilton's Mary Gentry series. That was just me browsing. I was walking through Barnes & Noble, I saw the cover of Seduced by Moonlight and went, ooh, I want that one. And I picked it up and I found a series that I'm still following to this day, and I probably picked that up probably close to 12 years ago now. Wow. I'm old, man. I'm not actually old. I just feel old sometimes. And that shows in many ways, no matter if you're traditionally published, if you're, self-published, e-published, it really shows how important the cover, the blurb, and, anything else that is immediately visible if someone picks it up off a shelf, how important that can be. I have passed on books that maybe I would have liked simply because, I've read the description, I looked at the cover and kind of went, not so sure about that. I actually just did it. A romance or I think it's a romance. I don't know. See, I don't even know. But the description was so, I couldn't bring myself to do it. And despite the fact that the book is free, it's not going to cost me anything to pick up, I'm not going to do it because they didn't sell me with their blurb. So as both a reader and a writer, that's important for me to remember, go out, see what the books look like now. Go and look at the bestseller shelves in Barnes & Noble. You're going to see some similarities of what all the covers or all the blurbs look like. This is what's doing well right now. If you want to jump into it, try and get an idea for the trends, because they do go through waves. And that's marketing. And I'm bad at marketing. But I know at least that going out and seeing what's doing well and seeing what's out there is, 100% a good way to get a start in that particular aspect of marketing. I was just discussing last week or so with another author friend of mine who just recently had her cover reveal, which you'll have seen on my blog. She was talking to her editor and her agent and everything about the blurb that's going on the book. And she knew that I had some very basic background in the book, and she goes, what do you think of this blurb? Coming at it fairly blind. And I remember, I read the first chapter or so of her book, and I read the blurb, and I went, I have to be honest with you, I wouldn't read this book from this blurb. It doesn't tell me anything. It doesn't say anything of what I know, outside of this conversation occurs in this book. It says nothing. It's useless. And so luckily she was able to go back and she talked with her editor, and the blurb they came up with is better, and I would pick it up from there, and you probably saw it over on my blog if you read such a thing. But in many ways, I think a lot of times we get very caught up, especially in the e-publishing world, about like query letters and flashy and really like catching attention and whatnot. And that's not necessarily the best place to focus. I mean, there's two big aspects. You have to make the book has to look good, because if it doesn't look good, it's just going to look like, you know, some third grader pasted it together in MS Paint. And editing, but that's beside the point, honestly. But making sure your book looks good and reads well from the shelf, be it an actual tangible shelf or a digital shelf, is very important. And I like being able to see what people do with that. So that is my personal opinion. I am a browser. Let me know, how about you? Are you a browser? You go in, you know exactly, you look for your books, and then you go out. Let me know down in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. Again, also, all of these go out on my Twitter. If you are a Twitter type person, feel free to stop by and talk to me there. I am on more often than I probably should be. But I will say adieu for now, and until next time, I will see you again on Thursday for a Top 5 Thursday. Bye! Actually do the intelligent thing and check my audio visual stuff before I start recording. Go and look at, you know, the